Welcome to The Jeweler's View. I'm Courtney Gray, metalsmith, educator, and creative business strategist. After 25 years in the jewelry industry, running one of the country's top metalsmithing schools, coaching artists, advising companies and organizations, and hosting interviews with some of the best in the craft, I finally created the kind of support I wish I'd had from the start. This podcast is a part of that. Each week, I share the lessons I had to learn the hard way so you can build a rhythm that supports your creative work, your values, and the life and business you actually want. Find tools, coaching, and my Transform course at CourtneyGrayArts.com, and let's get to work. Welcome back to The Jeweler's View. This is part 2 of my conversation with Jeanette Caines. And we're picking up kind of where we left off last week. We talked about gold, why it holds so much power, and how to start working with it without waiting until you feel ready or have permission. Today, we're talking about what happens when things don't go smoothly. Because let's be honest, if you're working with gold or really any material long enough, things are going to go sideways at some point. You're going to melt something, you'll make a cut you can't undo. You'll miss a solder joint and think, well, that's gone. Got to start over. But that's the work. That's how we get better. And Jeanette, she's built her teaching style around making that part of the process. Not just normal, but necessary. Let's get into it, Jeanette. Welcome back.
It's good to be here.
Back with the studio, the hidden parts of our studio, we made sure the clutter was off camera.
Oh yeah, that's a huge part of doing this is like the serene background and just out of view.
Yeah, that's where the chaos lives, behind the curtain. No, we're pretty okay with being imperfect. And I think that's a great segue into today's conversation. It's all about that. So let's start with a bench story. Can you think of a time, Jeanette, when something totally bombed? And what you took away from that experience? I'm sure you've got a few.
Well, the funny thing is too, is you ask that and I'm like, do you mean not like every day? Like, we say in the studio, fuckery is the norm. Like that is how you learn. The hardest part of being a student is not understanding that yet. It's not so much like that you're going to make mistakes, because that is literally all it is you make mistakes and then you go, oh, now I get it eventually. The big difference between a student and a teacher is like when something goes wrong, the student is pissed and outraged. And the teacher just goes like, yeah, that'll happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right. We see it every day. It's pretty much, this is normal.
Yeah. And like we always try to explain to people, ask yourself, when you got this crazy idea that everyone else just does this and it's easy and things don't mess up, like that was not the case for me. I've taught thousands of people. It was not the case for them. It's not the case for anybody. And really, if you want to learn fast, go ahead and fuck things up. That's where all the knowledge is. That's where all the data is. That's how I got to be however good I am. I got there because of watching my own mistakes and everybody else's mistakes. I hope to keep getting better because guess what? Mistakes keep happening, so I can still improve. That's really the big mindset thing where I'm always like, where did we all get this idea that we're supposed to all be savants and just magically know how to do anything? Like, that's not true of anybody. I've never worked with anybody like that.
This is a thing. Like, when did that kick in? Like, when in adolescence did that switch? Because we used to go from like, blah, paint, you know what I mean? Like just throwing paint and not caring and throwing it out and starting a different one. And I mean, most kids, some kids know, but you know what I mean? Like we didn't care as much. And so when did that shift? This is a whole other podcast episode we'll have to do.
What do I always say? We don't have jewelry problems. We have emotional problems.
Right. So wait, was there something that you totally like felt like, oh my gosh, this is irreparable? Or did you ever have a moment like that you think back to the beginning of time?
Not irreparable in the sense that I can't tell you how many pieces I utterly destroyed when I was learning. I mean, one of my favorite techniques that I used for years was design everything as earrings. And that way, maybe you'll get a pendant out of it. I mean, that was literally just like, it's always starts as earrings. Earrings, earrings, earrings. That way you have two and maybe one of them will live,
Hilarious.
Like, so And even now, like when I was making a super complicated ring with wire mosaic, I can't tell you how many hours it took to lay that whole thing out and fuse them all down. Huge amount of labor. And I put it in my magnetic tumbler afterward, which I always do to test my fusing, because if anything's going to come loose, you want it to come loose immediately so that you can then fix it before you're down the road. Well, because this piece was so big, it just happened to get wedged in exactly the right, meaning the wrong way. So instead of moving around in there for the 20 minutes that I put it in, it sat in one place. And the little pieces of steel shot just wore down one side of it completely. It is dead. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I was in the studio with my friend Alexis, and I just was like, well, it's time to move into the tequila for the night. No more for now.
Walking away.
I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't mad, but you just learn that it really is part of the process and it sucks and you can be mad. I'm not saying like you should have like perfect patience all the time, but be like, wow, that fucking sucks. And then you try again the next day, you know?
Yeah.
And guess what? I did it again and that ring looks amazing. So it's in the end, it's like, you know, is it worth stopping over? Like stopping permanently?
Right.
Never. You know, that I never questioned whether I was going to come back the next day. That day, yes. Like, you know what? Closing up shop. Fuck this. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Done.
But never like, oh, should I stop? I just loved it too much. It was about love, not about like success. Like, oh, well, I'm going to keep going because I'm getting so much success. Because I can really assure you that none of my teachers gasped in wonderment when they saw my work.
Your first work. Yeah.
50th, 100th. Like, no, it was not a thing.
How many years have you been working in gold now?
So let's see, probably about 32 years. I still work in silver every day with students. And also I do prototypes in silver. I started working in gold probably a few years in, 3 years in.
Yeah, it takes a little time. I love instruments. So I'll pick up, I'm a singer mainly. And so don't give me an instrument. I'm not good with it. Oh, I do play the American slide whistle pretty well, actually. I've got kind of a natural ability with that.
Nice.
But you know, but you know, it doesn't have notes or anything. So it's easy. But I like pick up a guitar and it takes finesse and it takes getting your hands used to the new tools and the new heat.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the underlying fear isn't so much with the material, but do you think it's more with the torch? I mean, you're putting heat to this material that we have in our minds as untouchable or it's so expensive that one mistake is the end of it all, so to speak, or get bigger in our brains. But I think it may be about the torch work. What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, when I first started working with the torch, I was just as terrified of it as everybody else, you know? Yeah, stressful. But, you know, you do get past that. And guess what? The only way to get past it is to melt some things in silver. And guess what? You're going to melt some things in gold too. And that's okay. Because remember, gold is eternal. It'll be here long after you and I are dust.
That's right.
Don't worry about the gold. It'll be fine. It's us.
Yeah.
We have to worry about
the trauma, right?
Yes,
the failure
exactly
trauma.
right.
So when you're teaching, where does that failure start? And how do you help them walk it back? Like, don't go to the edge of the cliff. It's okay, right? Let me pull you back.
This is really true of whether you're working in gold, you're working in silver or whatever. It's that people get nervous. And when they get nervous, they stop paying attention. It's almost like an anxiety response. So the main thing that I'm always doing is like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Like
you know,
right here.
We're right here in this moment. And in this moment, this is all that matters. And the funny thing is, of course, your brain loves that because it gets it very rarely where you're just, I'm here. That's it.
Right.
I'm really present. So it's, for me, it's not really whether they're working in gold or silver. It's getting them to just be present and whatever they're, you know what I mean? Our brains, you know what our brains do to us, dear God.
Yeah.
Just to try to like breathe and be present and get comfortable. And I mean that in the literal sense. I'm always like, are you comfortable? Have you wiggled your butt? Are you comfortable in your seat so that you're not thinking about your butt? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it's those little physical things. Like whenever I sit down at a bench, literally the first thing I do is sort of like, like wiggle my butt a little bit. Am I comfortable? Are my arms comfortable resting against the bench? And then I can give my object the full attention it deserves. That is huge. One of the biggest things that I think people struggle with is just get your body relaxed and then you can really be present.
You're almost having them do a body scan without even meaning to. It's like
Yeah.
just touching base with, okay, how are your shoulders? Where are they sitting?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
little things that tune you back into your body
Yeah.
and get you out of the brain. It's so freaking counterintuitive, right? We think that we're actually processing from our brains, but the brain's just telling everything else what to do. And the actual intention is coming from somewhere different. It all has to align, be calm and steady. I love that. Just check in with your butt, right?
Yeah. I'm always like, butt. You can't make jewelry if you're thinking about your butt. So get comfortable, and then you can really focus. I mean, honestly, think about it. Like most of our brains, it's like most of the time. I mean, let's be honest, right? It's like,
especially creatives, we're like squirrel. I mean, we just, it's so easy to get distracted. Yeah. So what have you noticed when students finally stop freaking out about the material?
Then they start to really enjoy themselves. It's like the slower you go, the faster you go. Once you stop rushing, things speed up, because when you're present, you're paying attention and also you're enjoying it. Because on top of everything else, I want to enjoy myself. Like, yes, I want the beautiful jewelry. Of course I do. But I want to enjoy myself. And the best way to enjoy yourself is just to really be present in the process. In your head, not enjoyable. Right. Like I said, up in there. That's no fun. For me, just when you can lose yourself in something, that's when you're in flow. That's when you're enjoying yourself. And it doesn't mean because it's all going beautifully and perfectly. It's just that you're there,
That's why I love the speed bag. I used to box and just you have to focus so hard or you're going to get knocked upside the head, just getting present. And some days, now, would you agree with this? We were just talking about Mercury being in retrograde, that some days are really bad torch days. Like there's just a day that doesn't work. Like nothing is working. And what do you do? What do you do with that?
Yeah. Well, I am not one of those people who's like white knuckle it. I'm like, no, some days are shitty. You know what I mean? And there's been plenty of days in my own work that I'm like, well, that sucks. So either I'm just going to take a break and go do something else entirely. Or if I'm going to be in the studio for the rest of the day, I go, hey, you know what? I need to make wire. I need to make granules. I need to make bezel, whatever it is that for me, I look at as not grunt work in a bad way, but it doesn't really, I've done it a million times. And that's usually what I do when I'm in that not
flow. Nothing's flowing.
Not flow. It's like, guess what? I need to make granules. I need granules no matter what. Why don't I do them when I'm not feeling creative or I'm not feeling particularly together? Yep. The thing that I hate the most in the world is if I'm like, oh, I know what I want to do. I know what I want it to look like. And I don't have the stuff prepared to do that. That makes me like, I like to do that kind of stuff, the make my sheet, make my wire, whatever it is in the studio that you need to do, but maybe you're procrastinating. I do that stuff in a shitty day. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay. And I tell people, like when people are trying to figure out a project, that has never worked for me in my whole life. When you tell your brain, I need a solution, your brain is like, I am out of here. I do not like this. It just doesn't work. So for me, I go, okay, I don't know what to do next with this. So I'm going to just put it aside, work on something else, like a whole other project or making some wire or whatever it is. And then guess what? Sooner or later, I'll go, oh, I know what I need to do. And then you do it. I'm just not one of those people that's like, we're going to sit here till we figure it out. My brain doesn't work that way.
And then somehow those solutions kind of fall into place, like just that shift of attention, even for a little while, right?
Pressuring yourself. Your brain is happiest left alone. Let's be honest. It is. I mean, you leave it alone, it'll just be like, all right, I'll solve this problem when you're not thinking about it.
I love the back burner. Just send it to the back burner for a little while and chill out. Yeah. The answers just start downloading out of nowhere. It's when you let go. Yeah. What a great way to put it too, Jeanette. It's like We put so much pressure on ourselves to have it perfect right away. And it just doesn't, that doesn't happen. It doesn't
I would have
happen.
become an accountant if I wanted to do that shit. You know what I mean?
You can't miss a number. That's right. You can't miss the number.
Exactly.
So, no.
Who wants to do
No.
that? That's not why I became like people be like, well, I really should finish this before I start something else. And I'm like, why? Who gives a shit? Why don't you
Right.
enjoy yourself instead and work what you feel inspired to work on? That's how I work. You think
Yeah.
I'd make myself finish an entire project before I get to start something else? I didn't become an artist to live like that. You know what I mean? I work on what I'm feeling inclined to work on. So all my work is much better because I don't work on it unless I'm feeling it. You know what I mean?
I remember having some students come through who really had a difficult time with that piece. What
Yeah.
would you say to them? They just can't get out of their brains.
All I can do is share my experience with people and be like, so you're upset. I get totally why you're upset. I've ruined 6,000 pieces. So I get it, but let's just do something else. That isn't how the world works. That isn't how your brain works. That isn't how art works. And we can want it to work that way. But guess what? I'm always like, look, I want to be super fit and eat pie 3 times a day. That's not going to happen either.
I love pie. I
know,
love
right?
pie. Yes.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner pie.
I'll take it. Peach pie, key, all the pie. Yes.
All
please.
of it. Yeah. It's not that I don't understand. I say this because I do understand. Some projects are just going to need to be started over.
Yeah.
Can we fix things? Yes, we can fix a lot. Sometimes the best solution is like, fuck this. I'm going to start it over tomorrow. And today I'm going to do something else. It's like, that's the process. That's life. You don't get to be good without doing that. I've never seen it. It's not possible.
Is this how you would define mastery?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because mastery, you just decide to learn from everything. As a student, it took me maybe 3 years to crack a little bit. And we all joke, all the teachers, that you have a point where you finally go like, okay, I can do this thing where I come in every day and say, I got to get this done today. I have to finish this. I have to finish that. But eventually you realize that has no relation to reality. You are not in control of that. So you're aggravated and making yourself miserable, and it doesn't work. Now, does that mean I figured that out right away? No, I did that for probably about 3 years until I finally was like, you know what? It's going to take the time it takes.
And things are going to go sideways. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Because it isn't up to me at that level. It just isn't. Like if I had that kind of power, I'd be a supervillain. I'd be sitting on top of a mountain of gold that I had managed to just like manifest from my brain. But like, I don't control the universe, unfortunately. Right. So we just have to deal with the cards we've been dealt.
Things are happening the only way they can. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I get it. Like wisdom, patience. No one wants those things. Like, ew. I mean, the only patience I have, I learned in the studio. I did not have any natural story, because people will do that. Like, oh, you're so patient. And I'm like, yeah. You should see me when the internet gets slow. I lose my shit like everybody else. I just learned that it just doesn't pay, so to speak. I just go, hey, whatever it takes is whatever it takes.
Ease back, take a minute, check in with your butt. I bet you've gotten really good at helping students focus in or zoom out when needed. How to just walk away. Sometimes you just walk away, take a minute.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Instead of trying to fix it. We got to talk a little bit about Dr. Goldsmith in the house.
Solving problems is only my very favorite thing to do in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes my brain happy. I guess that's why I love jewelry making so much, because all it is fucking problems.
Yeah.
No matter how long it takes, when I figure something out, it's like the reward is huge in my brain. My brain gives me the happy chemicals when I solve a problem. Doesn't have to be a big problem. And so that's the approach that I've always taken with my work and working as a teacher and everything, is use this as data. This is knowledge. This is valuable. This is the gold mine. You know what I mean? We're going to take it and we're going to use it and we're going to apply it. That's why for me, this whole idea of doing this membership program, Dr. Goldsmith, is like, oh my God, what have I been doing with my whole life? Why haven't I been doing this all along? I guess the truth is I have been doing it all along with my own students, but now I can help so many more people, because people need help. They take classes, they do things, they think they're doing it right, if you know what I'm saying. Nobody says to themselves, I'm going to just mess up this ring. Here I go. Like, you're trying your best, but you need someone who has seen it done 1,000 different wrong ways to instantly say, this is how we fix it. This is how we solve it. For me, that's very hard won knowledge, and I want to share it. In this membership, people can submit their questions and get their shit figured out. So like, I'm super happy because I get to help people and solve problems, and people get their problems solved. After you leave a class, who are you asking? The value of the advice you get can vary really, really wildly.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty widespread out there. There's a lot of information. And I think it's not just our industry, it's everywhere. I mean, there's just information everywhere. And where do you look? What do you trust? What do you believe at the end of the day?
Yeah. Part of the essence of, Googling and AI is like, okay, well, there's a tons of knowledge, but what is actually true? What's reliable? What actually applies to your situation? Which a lot of that too, when you're a relative beginner, that's what it is. You don't really understand things quite well enough yet to know, well, this applies to me, but this does not apply to me. So that makes it hard for people to just go through YouTube videos or something. You know what I'm saying? It's not that the knowledge doesn't exist. It does, but is that the right thing for you? Yeah.
Jeanette and I have been workshopping this membership that she's building. It's Dr. Goldsmith, and we're super pumped. I don't think there's much like this out there, you guys. It's going to be freaking awesome. I mean, you're not 24/7. No, this is not open heart surgery. Not literally, but I loved your whole analogy around why Dr. Goldsmith. Dig into that first, and then where should the students be before? Is there a certain level?
The truth is, there's a few things that I'll say. Advanced levels are nothing but good execution of the basics. So everybody thinks that advanced is a whole different thing, and advanced is really just really understanding the basics. So honestly, it's going to be for a variety of levels. So what you'll be able to do is you can submit a question every month, right? And then we'll do a Zoom meeting once a month, and I'll go through all the questions and we'll solve them. But then there's going to be the Goldmine. You'll be able to go to the site and basically be like, oh, what was that problem that Jeanette was talking about 3 months ago about bezel setting, rose cut stones, that at the time didn't mean that much to me because I wasn't setting a rose cut stone, and now I'm setting a fucking rose cut stone and I need some help. Like, it's just going to be this huge
resource,
Goldmine, of vetted knowledge. That way you can get your questions answered. And you can also always go to that in between. You can be in the Zoom meeting and you can listen to my explanation. But guess what? Like, maybe you're not available that day or whatever. You can always go watch it later, or you can go to the Goldmine and I'll be like, here's the problem. Here's the answer. Here's a video. And I wrote a paper on this. If you want to nerd out a little deeper, here it is. It's just, there's so much knowledge out there, but it's very hard to know what to trust and what actually applies to you. And that's what I think I can sort of uniquely bring to this. I'm very bossy. I love to tell people what to do. I get to tell everybody how to fix their shit. I love it. You know what I mean? For me, that's like, that's like the ultimate. So I'm so excited about it. And I'm working on getting all the tech together, but really it's going to be for a multitude of levels. It really isn't just for advanced people, just for beginners, because I can't tell you how many people I've seen trying to do advanced techniques that the problem was nothing to do with advanced. It's like execution of the basics is everything. So beginners need that. Intermediates need that, and the advanced people need it too, because I cannot even begin to say how many times I've said to a student, that's all great, but if your bezel is crooked or your inner bezel, like, none of that matters if we can't execute the essentials right, because you're setting your stone. I can show you all the advanced setting techniques in the world if your bezel isn't level. So I really feel like it will be for a variety of levels. We're going to cover it all. If I get 600 beginner questions and 4 advanced, that I'm not going to just do one or the other. I'll make sure that things get covered in a way so that you can solve your shit.
What I find, and really why I've put together Transform, there were so many common things that I heard coming up from the years and years of working with people in the
Yes.
industry and in creative business, you're probably going to see a lot of similar questions. And the
Yes.
cool thing for everybody out there is you're not alone. This is a common thread, right? Whether it's imposter syndrome or if it's some underlying fear around putting yourself out there and getting rejected or whatever it is, there are so many other people going through the exact same thing. So showing up for something like this and realizing that you're not alone, I think is huge. Don't you
It's
think that's,
powerful. Well,
yeah,
because also thing of it is too, in the membership community, you'll be able to show up there with people and be fucking real. Like
yeah,
on social media, there's enormous pressure for us to all put our best foot forward, right? It's always the highlight reel.
mhm,
And so to have a place where no, you don't have to fake it. You can be like, oh, look, I did this. And all the rest of us will be like, ha ha ha, I can top that with this terrible thing I did.
right,
You know,
right. Yeah,
because
the
that's
community.
what it's
Yeah,
like. That's community. And we all somehow always think that we're alone. That's a place you don't have to fake it. You don't have to
yeah,
pretend, oh, yes, I magically just did all this. Like, no, blood, sweat, tears, tequila, just like the
yeah,
rest of us. Being able to be authentic is a weirdly rare commodity in modern life. It's a place for us not to have to do that bullshit, you
right.
know? I
Yeah,
mean,
to just get real with it and not have to be
yeah,
on like we were talking about. Just
yeah,
feel like you can show up and there's no dumb questions.
yeah,
There's no wrong way to approach this. I like the judgment free zone. I remember when you were in Transform and we got towards the end of the class and one of the students said, what happens when the 6 weeks is over? We're not dropping you off at the curb here, friends. That's not why people like Jeanette and I teach. That's not what it's about. It's not like, thanks for the money, take my course, see you later, good luck. So this gives people somewhere to go, you know? And
yes,
that's why I started the circle. Jeanette's in there, by the way. Once you
yes, I
guys do
am.
Transform and you can come hang out with us every month and do a little accountability check in. I love
Yeah,
this. We're going to solve all the world's problems together, Jeanette. It's so badass. I think that's such a beautiful way to give them a landing pad. We're still here. We're still here for you after the course ends. We
yeah,
can take courses all day long. You could come do a week at JA. And then what? You get home and you forget to practice the skills. Guess what? You're
yeah.
kind of back where you started, but with a little more. So this will be a great way for your students to stay in touch with you,
Yeah.
right?
Who
Like
doesn't
from
when they're working
home.
at home, you
Yeah.
get that sticking point and you'll be able to just get help for that.
Have a mentor to check in with. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And each other. What you'll see is, right, we're going to, because you
Yeah.
know your community at the school, this is going to bleed out into this membership and it's going to
Yeah.
become awesome. Okay. So more to come on this. We're just brainstorming on all the cool ways that we can move and shake and change people's lives. That's right. That's what we do behind the scenes over here. Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to hear a moment that stands out for you when all the trial and error finally pays off.
Yeah. I'm so lucky because I get to see that moment every day with my students because there's never like a finish line. Yes, you finish a piece and you feel super great about it. Amazing. There's always the next technique, the next project. I get to see people all the time where I show them a better way and they try it and they're like, you know what? That actually worked. It's all those little successes. That is a great way to live. I get to do that.
Yeah.
And I hope Dr. Goldsmith allows me to share that with even more people. Life is never the finish line. There's no one, I mean, you know, in life, except for the big finish line in the sky, everything is sort of just an ongoing,
And even then, yeah.
process. I get to enjoy that again and again and again with my own work. I work, I study, I practice, and then I'm like, oh, a little better. I like that, you know, and
Yeah.
I get to share that with students as well. For me, that's like, what's
Yeah.
better than that?
Yeah, it's everything. So gratifying. Okay, definitely make sure that you're following Jeanette at JA is where you want them, right? On Instagram.
At
Jewel-
Jewelry Arts on Instagram.
at Jewelry Arts. And of
Yes.
course, we'll plug it into the show notes and
Yes. And I
all
have
the
a
things.
YouTube channel too, Jewelry Arts YouTube channel with 470 absolutely free instructional videos.
Your YouTube, did you start this during the apocalypse? Was that right?
You know, like I started filming more like seriously during the apocalypse because we're all home and freaked out. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. You know, I'm like, well, I do know metalsmithing.
Yeah.
How about I just help people with that and give us all something to think about that's more enjoyable? I did a few videos before COVID, but COVID is really when I was like, okay. Then when, you know, things opened back up, I was like, oh, that was really fun. And people seemed to really like it. And so we kept doing it.
You kept going. Things come in weird ways sometimes.
They really do.
Just listen and keep moving in the next best direction. Even when it seems like they're all falling apart, sometimes it's part of this bigger process that we just don't quite see until hindsight comes, which is later after the struggles.
Yeah, things only really make sense afterward. Like people were like, "Oh, how'd you know this?" I'm like, "Well, I fucking didn't. I just did a bunch of shit, and then it was like, oh, actually, that thing worked."
Now it
You
makes
know what I
sense.
mean?
Yeah.
Don't know. You don't know. You try things, and then afterward, your brain kind of arranges it into some chronological order. But really, that's not what it's like in the moment.
No, you have to go through it. Sorry, guys. Got to go through it. And then the clarity comes. And
Yeah.
then you got to go through it again or in a different way. It's a lovely applique process. All right, you guys, it's all about gold. These last 2 episodes with Jeanette Caines. Gold's going to challenge you. And yeah, flames, mistakes, money on the line. It's easy to get in your head about it. But the sooner we stop being afraid of messing up, the faster that we grow. And the more we talk about it, the less alone it feels. That's why we're here. Huge thanks to Jeanette for bringing her stories, her honesty, your practical wisdom. It's so welcome to this conversation. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Until then, keep showing up, keep experimenting, and give yourself room to learn and, yes, to fail a little bit so that you can learn even more. Onward and upward. Thanks, Jeanette.
Hi, Courtney.
Great to have you. Thanks for listening to The Jeweler's View. If today's episode gave you something to think about, consider sending it to a friend or share it on social and tag me at Courtney Grayart. You'll find tools, coaching, resources, and the Transform course at CourtneyGrayArts.com. And if no one's told you this lately, remember, you're not behind. You're becoming exactly the kind of maker your business needs. And that kind of depth, it takes time. I'll be back next week. Same time, same tough love. Onward and upward.